Hi.
Hello guys, if you're brand new to my channel, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook. Today we are talking about a book that has literally blown up so much. People have been talking about it for months, but over the past month especially, I have just seen it absolutely everywhere, all over TikTok, all over BookTube. People love it and I finally got my hands on it. I finally read it and it did not disappoint. We are talking about Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This book, I don't even know where to start. So if you do not know about the general synopsis of this book, it is basically about the son of the President of the United States and the current Prince of Wales slash grandson of the current Queen of England. They have kind of grown up together over the past several years. They've seen each other at like various political events and they do not get along. They're kind of enemies, if you will. They don't vibe, they've never liked each other, and something happens that kind of causes a bit of a media frenzy, and now the governments are kind of doing damage control and the two boys are being forced to basically show that they have a friendship for the media. They're having to hang out with each other, be seen on camera, act like they're best friends, just to like keep relations between the two countries good. Throughout that time, they kind of start to become friends. They kind of realize they have things in common, and eventually it kind of develops into a bit of a relationship, a bit of one of the boys figuring out their sexuality, like having a bit of an epiphany, and obviously that's not, that's a bit scandalous when it's between two of the children of the biggest figureheads in the world. Things ensue. This book just overall, like, it was like a warm hug. It just made me smile. This might sound kind of like sad, but I don't read that many books that just make me happy. Like I tend to read, like I am not a person that reads like straight romances. Like I pretty much read like fantasy with a sprinkle of romance. If I do read a romance, it's usually like a dark romance, just some other aspect going on. And this book was just pure like love and butterflies. It made me giddy. I really just, it was just so pure and sweet and beautiful, and I just know that this is going to be a book that like I'm going to reread. Like it's going to be a comfort read for me. Like literally the first time reading it, it felt like a comfort read. I totally see why it has the hype that it has. I do feel personally, just because it was so talked about, I think it was like a hair overhyped. I have to give it a 4 out of 5 stars, which I am very like stingy with my 5 stars. I do not get 5 stars out easily. I literally loved this book so much. The only reason I am going to give it 4 stars is because I felt like the first 100 pages and the last 100 pages, obsessed. Like couldn't put it down, completely in love with it. The kind of 200-ish pages in the middle, I felt like got a little bit slow for me. Just a little bit, like, I don't want to say boring, but it just kind of, you know, there was a little fluff in there. Like I feel like it could have been cut down a little bit, a little faster pace. And just some things happened throughout the story that I felt like were just not very realistic. I guess if you haven't read the book at this point, exit, go read the book. I promise you'll love it. But yes, for those of you that have read it. For me, I just felt like this book was so sweet and beautiful and I did love it, but like, this is literally the President of the United States' son and the Prince of freaking Wales. Like, I felt like they got away with a lot of stuff that there's no way they would have realistically gotten away with. There were so many like risky things that they did where I'm just like, how were you guys not caught sooner? Like there's just no way that you would have gotten away with this for so long. Like there's so many eyes on you, like just sneaking off at these very public events to engage in activities. Like someone's gonna catch you. So I just didn't think that was super realistic. I also partially, like this sounds horrible because I just went on and on about like how happy this book made me and how much I loved it. I just felt like it was a little bit too easy. Like I wanted, like I was rooting for them, do not get me wrong, I wanted them together, I love the love story, but I just feel like if this was like a real life situation, they would have faced like a lot more backlash. I feel like obviously whenever they were kind of like caught or outed and there was the whole conversation with the Queen, like that was very stressful, that was very difficult, but I just felt like it was over too quickly. I thought it was great that both of his parents, Alex's parents, were very supportive, but I just have like, you know, I just think that like for me, this may make me sound crazy, but for me, a love story is more satisfying in like a book if there's a little more like heart wrench and trials to get there. Like, I just felt like the burn for me, I wish was slower. I just thought that they got together so quickly. Like, I expected much longer of the book to be them becoming friends. And then, I mean, I loved that whole aspect. Like I said, the first like 100 pages I thought were so good. But when at the party, like, Henry just goes for it without Alex, like, I was just like, oh, like, I did not expect it to happen that early. Like, I expected there to be like a little more tension, a little more angst. Like, I feel like the enemies to lovers was just a bit like quicker than I would prefer. Like, I just think it could have built up longer. And I think realistically, for these guys that have like hated each other for so long, I feel like they just kind of like loved each other a little too quick. Like, I just wish that it was a little bit longer. And yeah, I just think there would have been like a little more hesitance, a little more like fear, a little more backlash from family members. Just, it all just was a little bit too easy. And that's the only reason that I'm giving it a 4-star. Like, I literally adored this story. If you just like look at it and stop, take off all of my blinders of like, is this realistic? Like, what could really happen? It's a beautiful story. And it's towards the end, whenever, God, when they were in the palace and they like opened the windows and everybody was like so supportive with the flags and stuff, like, I felt my eyes watering. It just made me so happy. Like, I don't know, just the idea that anybody in the world has to be like afraid to just freaking love who they love is insane at this point. It was just so beautiful. It was so beautiful to see the support. It was actually really cool. I'm from Texas, so the fact that like Alex was from Texas, it was so cool to see all those references to just Texan things and places in Texas. It was so interesting she chose to do that, and like, as a person from Texas, like, I feel like I really understood like the impact of all of that. Yeah, so I absolutely love this book. I, again, will read it time and time again. It's gonna stay on my bookshelf. It was beautiful. I totally want to read more from this author. But yeah, if you guys read this book, let me know your thoughts. Did you think it was somewhat overhyped? Do you think that I'm crazy? Do you think that the burn could have been a little slower? Gush over Alex and Henry with me in the comments. I loved it. I loved it so much. Like, I'm still smiling thinking about it. So yes, that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Bye.